I'm at Red Cross Garden in Bankside, Southwark, which the Bankside Open Spaces Trust has kindly let us use today to wish you a good afternoon and warm welcome to the 2021 Landscape Institute Awards. This green space first opened to the public around 133 years ago. The notion of a public garden was in its relative infancy, and as a pocket park in a deprived area, Red Cross Garden was a vibrant and much needed respite for locals. It was fully restored with lottery funding, and Southwark Council agreed a long lease to the Bankside Open Spaces Trust in the 1990s. It's now a hugely valuable asset for residents and office workers. The development it accompanied, which comprises 2 rows of cottages and a community hall, was also an early example of Octavia Hill's pioneering social housing schemes. A co-founder of the National Trust, Hill was also an avid social reformer and firm believer in social housing, community space and public green space. This garden is a modest but enduring mission statement for the power of landscape. As a pocket park in a deprived area of South London, it brought tremendous health and well-being benefits to residents who otherwise had little or no access to green space in Octavia Hill's time, and still today, where green space is at a premium in a highly developed area of London. The garden, its development, and the community-focused stewardship by the Trust shows us that a great space doesn't just give users a place to live, work, or relax in safety. A great space empowers people with a sense of ownership, of inclusion, of equity and justice. To me, the Landscape Institute Awards are all about empowerment, this year more than most. At the COP26 Climate Summit in Glasgow earlier this month, we saw world leaders come together to discuss decisive action on climate change. The clock is ticking, and we have less than a decade to drastically cut carbon emissions. That means a radical change in how we design, build and manage places. We'll see in today's fantastic shortlist just how fundamental landscape will be to that journey. Our sector is already tackling climate change and biodiversity loss, whether in pocket parks or as part of large-scale multidisciplinary interventions. We deliver such amazing results when merely responding to change. Imagine what could happen if we were leading change. As a sector, we need to amplify our voice. For that voice to be as loud and as effective as possible, it needs to be a united one, working collaboratively with others. My landscape journey started as one of the last apprentice gardeners for the GLC, working across London, but mostly in Abbeywood and Thamesmead, and moving on to formal landscape architecture training. Yet, I never applied for chartership, as entry into the profession was fraught with difficulties and barriers for someone with a young family. Instead, I took a more circular route, and have worked in urban renewal for nearly 30 years in private, public and charitable sectors, coming home to landscape in my new position. It's for that reason that I champion the need to make our profession and the wider built environment sector as open and diverse as possible, so our designers and the places we design can be truly inclusive and represent the needs of all users. To be the profession that transforms the world for the better, we need to transform ourselves too. To truly represent the communities we serve, we need to throw open our doors. We need to provide everybody not just with a route into our profession, but with the means to excel within it, no matter their background, lived experience, circumstance or aspiration. The 2020 Landscape Awards ceremony was with our first ever online. Along with the rest of the world, we demonstrated innovation in the face of adversity, and the results were spectacular. Hundreds of people from around the world joined us in our most inclusive and accessible celebration to date of the power of landscape. So, if last year we showed ourselves how we can flourish despite a global pandemic, let 2021 be the year where we can show the world how we can lead a green, sustainable, resilient recovery from it. Let's find our voice.